Hello, thanks for joining us to look at some more of Australia's great collectibles. Something really unusual and very Australian to begin, thanks to Peter Cherry of Houndorf in the Adelaide Hills. Something very South Australian, in fact. If you're just wondering what this is, it's called a sampler. It's the extraordinary handiwork of a young Australian, a little girl's work from 150 years ago. So it's almost as old as South Australia itself. But how important and indeed how valuable, asks Peter Cherry. Anna, and indeed, why a sampler?
A sampler, Clive, is a test of a young girl's sewing, and she usually displayed all the stitches which she was capable of. By the 19th century, this was generally largely done in cross-stitch, and it would often include letters of the alphabet, numerals, and often an improving moral verse, and perhaps a verse from the scriptures. The more desirable ones, I have to say, usually have something pictorial, like a house or dogs or children. But I think, Peter, that this one has a particularly interesting point in the origin, is that right, in the town of origin?
Yes, I've only ever seen two Australian ones, and this is one of them. Samplers, of course, go back for 400 years. Shakespeare mentions them. Dr. Johnson mentions them. He said that girls have left their samplers to teach the world wisdom.
Right. Anything particularly important about this one?
Well, the only important thing about this one is that it's Australian. They're all done by young girls. I've never seen one done by a girl over 13.
Right, and what are they worth?
English ones or continental ones made right throughout the continent for 400 years and mentioned in wills, plenty of them relatively, $300 auction estimate, Australian one $1,200 or so plus.
Now take a look at this. There's nothing like a beautiful piece of porcelain to put you into a good mood, I always think. And this one seems to have it in spades. A Sydney collector believes it to be Worcester. She picked it up at auction and it was so described. And if so, she thinks it may be reasonably valuable. Anna, for a start, is it really Worcester, do you think?
It could only be Worcester, Clive. If you have a look inside here, you can see a very characteristic bluish-greenish paste of Worcester. It means it's a soft paste porcelain that was made with soapstone, and it gives it quite a greenish-bluish colour.
Anything else?
Well, Worcester was one of the most famous factories of the 18th century, Clive, and it's very characteristic, this particular vase, a gros bleu background, a dark blue background, quite an unstable blue, you can see almost sponged on, and a wonderful reserve panel painted in the oriental manner with these wonderful Japanese kakeiamon colours, bright orangey red and yellow and turquoise and blue.
Does the picture actually mean anything, do you think?
Well, no, it's very much an oriental fantasy with composition of flowers and these long-tailed birds, sometimes called ho-ho birds. But quite a marvellous decorative vase, and I think perhaps, Peter, I don't know how you agree on this, but it's the quality of the gilding, too, which marks this as particularly fine.
Yes, what makes it Worcester for you, Peter?
Well, the blue and the quality of the decoration. Often on 18th century porcelains you get these insects, which there's a number on this one. Sometimes you get a blue scale, which was copied by Sampson, but as Anna says, you've got this blue look here, and what's more, if you hold it up to a light, you get a duck egg green translucency in the paste itself, which varies with different factories. So it's not just the surface colour, but it's the translucency held to a strong light.
A lot of this about?
Not a lot of Worcester, because it was made a long time ago, and some porcelain, like Crown Derby with the Murray patterns, lend themselves to a production line. The man who painted this would have been almost a royal academician. I'm not saying he was, I don't know who painted it, but they was different to doing a routine sort of one.
Right, it's Worcester, what's it worth?
What do you think, Anna?
Well, it's Dr. Wall Worcester. It's the most famous period of Worcester, Clive, between 1751 and 1783, dating to the 1760s. Unusual in the sense that it's got this kind of pattern on the reserve panel rather than just decorative flowers. I don't know, Peter, what do you think? About 4,000?
Something like that. It has a mark there too, which all 18th century porcelain's not marked, but it helps if it is.
That's impressive. For love of money, quick tip before we go, for those viewers who have real pearls. Genuine pearls must be kept away from the corrosive action of hairsprays and perfumes and stored in a softly lined silk or velvet box of their own, away from hard-edged jewellery. And they should be the last thing that you put on in the evening. Now until next time, goodbye.